Hello there. In the tourism sector, skills shortage has been central to the discussions. On this particular episode of Doing Business in Rwanda, we will have conversations with different stakeholders in the tourism education sector on the solution to this and the economic growth and development of the sector. You will be with me, Naringwa Fiona Muthoni.
Personally, I like to look at the situation with what are the positive outcome of it, not only the negative. So the positive outcome, being in education with the Batal School, I think it's time to invest in the education of the youth to start with, and to take advantage of this crisis to reevaluate our education system, what we want the youth to learn, how we want our youth to be in the future, and how do we want them to be prepared for future crises like the COVID-19. Another opportunity was to reinvent oneself, reinvent your business. Today, if we talk about tourism, reinvention will be in virtual reality. How do we offer a product without having the tourists move physically? This is a new opportunity. How do we invest more in technologies such as augmented reality, cashless payment? Those are also new opportunities for the tourism and hospitality sector. And the other opportunity that I see is community tourism. Our movements are limited. How are we going to empower the community we live in? Because most of the time, the tourism we used to see is tourism from tourists from abroad coming to Rwanda, for example. But today, we don't have as much as before. So we have to rely on our domestic tourism. But domestic tourism we need to reinvent our product, but also how are we going to pull up the community we live with?
There are still many challenges, but I will speak of two. The first one is the capacity building. The people who are working in the industry, most of them, they don't have the skills that take them to the industry. So I think this is a very big challenge when it comes to the contribution that they are giving to the people visiting our country.
First, start with the education system in Rwanda by putting much efforts in tourism and hospitality schools, as well as encouraging kids to do the courses, because the tourism and hospitality industry is growing, and it is growing faster, and we are getting more businesses and more money that is coming in. But then if we want to keep on these things, then there has to be a way to encourage schools. So I think it's just the idea behind who goes to the hospitality and tourism schools, and why are you guys going there? Because the idea is that you are going there because you failed other courses. But it's not just that you go there because you're passionate about it, because you feel like it's something that can take you to another level. So I think the school set is just people are not taking it seriously. People are not taking people working in the restaurants, people working in the hotels. They are not taking them serious, because they feel like it's something you just do because you don't have anything else to do.
In efforts to better service delivery in the tourism and hospitality industry, the country has and is still investing heavily in skills development. We get to understand the gaps present, and moreover, despite the grave impact that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on the industry, we also look at the numerous opportunities it has unlocked.
I don't think we focus enough on future skills. I think in order to make the sector resilient, we can't just think about the skills that we need today and tomorrow. We do need to think ahead. We need to think long term. What are the skills that the industry requires in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? And we need to start building them now. And we really need to dedicate, as organizations, we need to dedicate ourselves and our organizations to building a learning culture that really incentivizes continuous learning of future skills.
One, because technology is going to help us cut cost drastically. It's going to help reduce when I say cut cost, it's cut cost in terms of labor. It's also going to help, like in the health industry, to be more aware of the needs of our customer. With artificial intelligence, we can actually anticipate the need of our future customer. Technology is also going to help us in cashless, being able to transact without having to have cash. And you know, all these issues that we have, you have to exchange money and you have to find a forex bureau, etc. Nowadays, we can actually transact without even being like face-to-face, just online or with mobile money. So I think technology, if it should be leveraged for the tourism industry, and we personally think at Vatel also that we should invest in educating our student using the technology. The technology I'm talking about, it's online learning, blended online learning, because one, is cost effective, but two, the student can learn at his own pace, which is actually something we can't have in a class, because it's most of the time it's pulled by the stronger, and then the weaker stay kind of behind. But with the technology, you can now pause, go back, write down, ask your lecturer or ask your colleague.
During conversations with some of the players in the industry, it was indicated that training institutions should design a curricula that targets the priority soft skills to bridge the gap, also ensuring that they are responsive to employer environments and needs. Nicole Bamukunde, director at Vatel Rwanda, and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Tourism and Technology and Business, Dr. Kawera Calixte, shared more.
We are starting this year for our bachelor degree. We are going to introduce courses on sustainable development. It's very important. Now we have seen that Mother Nature sometimes just shut down and say, enough, we need to take care of our surrounding. We are also introducing entrepreneurship to teach them to actually think about being the solution as a youth, not only graduating and expecting a job at the end. You could be the one creating actually jobs, not only for you, but for other youth. And we are introducing a new course on communication. How do you communicate and communication skills? So I think those, in Vatel, this is what we are introducing. But in addition to that, how do we best prepare the youth is to look at what we are offering currently and look at the trends in the future and see what are if we want to prepare our youth to be the best of the best and to compete worldwide, what do we need to teach them? How do we want them to be? What kind of courses, what kind of trajectory do we want them to follow? And then, of course, include the youth in the conversation, because nowadays with social media, with internet, there is no information that we are not aware of. It's only if you don't want, or if you don't have the financial capacity maybe to go online. But everything is available out there. So then it's to include the youth and say, okay, you youth, how do you see yourself? What do you want to be? How do you want to become successful in the future? So I think it's a conversation between the education sector, private sector, being the employers, and the youth. And of course, government to make sure that it also goes in the same direction of our vision.
No, when you train people and they are aware also that there are the gaps, you train towards mitigating those gaps. For instance, the teaching structure we are having since we started is training all along the competencies a worker in the hospitality and tourism industry should have. For us to make it, we take the tourism industry as a pyramid, whereby at the foundation you need many people, those technicians, those people will offer services. In the middle, you need supervisors, and on the top, you need managers. So that's how we have taken this industry. And in addition to this, we have a curriculum that has been designed with the participation of the private sector, who were involved in the preparation, the design of the curriculum, to make sure that the curriculum we are training is in line with the needs on the labor market.
We talked to some of the students on their future plans and contribution to the tourism and hospitality sector here in Rwanda.
Hospitality and tourism is the fastest growing industry across the world. So that's why I chose to join this particular industry. That I've already started making money from this. So I'm planning to have my own business from this, because we also do entrepreneurship skills here. So I'm planning to have mine, but by now I'm still working for others, which means that there is a hope that what I'm studying today will facilitate me to make a living in the future.
I've gained a lot in the tourism and hospitality industry. It's been a year, almost a year and a half since I started, but we've made some good money, some good connections, some good skills. It was like 3 months ago when I finished my program with ESP, which is tourism was in the hospitality and tourism industry. So I've gained a lot of experience and exposure and the connection.
The skills development has a lot of impact in terms of socio-economic development. Specifically on the economic development, the skills, it's like an engine which shifts from one level to another one. So the skills are very instrumental in terms of developing economy, because they are the ones who produce businesses, the ones who make bigger the market. If the country has good skills, the right skills, then it will be much easier to capture with the economic development, because they play a big role. Because there is a say that if you want to invest in education, it's really what you can offer to your children. And if you don't want to invest in education, try ignorance. Ignorance will kill really the economic development if it is an option you can take.
That brings us to the end of this particular episode of Doing Business in Rwanda. You're with me, Narengwa Fiona Motoni. As always, do share your comments and suggestions on Twitter. Write to us at CNBC Africa, or you can tag me directly at Fimuthoni.